Obviously, this is all fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, salads. This is where a lot of the chefs in town come to pick up their food for their day's cooking as well. And of course, the locals are picking up their items for their daily shopping. That's a tradition in Rome and Italy, throughout Europe, in fact. They like to buy their produce fresh daily. And they have some funky little vehicles, little trucks and little bicycles that bring these goods in. And even for us tourists, well, it's nice to look around. We're not going to be doing any cooking probably, but we could buy some fruits, take a lot of pictures, and just soak in the atmosphere. But be sure, if you want to buy the produce or the fruits, to do it in the morning before these stands shut down. Fountain of the Turtles, one of the cute little places. It's in the Jewish district in Rome, into the neighborhood called the Ghetto. No, it's not a slum, but it's the historic section where Rome's Jews lived during the Middle Ages. It still retains a medieval feeling that's so typical of the many hidden nooks and crannies of the city. Narrow cobbled alleys lead from one little crooked space to another. Well, continue walking along in the Ghetto. Walk towards the Portico of Octavia. It was built by Rome's greatest emperor, Augustus, as part of a large complex that has now been reduced to some columns and a facade and fragments, which have actually been restored and renovated very nicely, and well worth a visit to the Portico of Octavia. The huge building right beyond the portico that looks like the Coliseum is actually the Theater of Marcellus. It was also built by Augustus 2,000 years ago as an enclosed theater that could hold 13,000 people. From Teatro Marcello, we walk up to the Capitoline Hill. There's kind of a secret terrace up on the Capitoline that gives you a magnificent view looking out across the city. This terrace, of course, is a great place to take a lot of photos, get magnificent views of the domes of the churches, and put yourself in the picture, get a friend to snap it for you. There are some excellent views looking down at the Forum from the right and left sides of the Palazzo Senatorio. Now from here you could walk into the Forum or make a detour over to Trajan's Column. There's some original buildings still here and a lot of fragments and columns and arches. It was like a combined shopping center, political gathering spot, courthouse, and religious center all in one. It was covered over and forgotten about during the Middle Ages and even the Renaissance by dirt blowing in, but in the last century it's been uncovered. A lot of archaeological excavations have been conducted here. So it's really quite an important site that you must see when you're in Rome. Somewhat intact. Not bad. The largest building was the Basilica of Constantine and Maxentius. Its brick arches and roof soaring 115 feet high, covering an area the size of a football field. Well, it was originally used for a variety of purposes, including a courthouse and general gathering place. Heading for the exit now, heading to the Arch of Titus and on to the Coliseum, home of Rome's gladiators and the largest building ever constructed by these engineering masters of the ancient world. Admire the grandeur of this massive stadium, the model for all of our modern sports arenas. Trajan's Forum, with its towering column and impressive covered market, are two of the most impressive ruins from antiquity. From the sidewalk, you can look right into the lower level of Trajan's Market and that multi-level covered shopping mall. This beautiful brick building is 5 stories high, and it had 150 stores and offices arranged in this graceful curved brick facade. Trajan's Column, you'll notice on the left side from the overlook, is standing across the street, across the Via dei Fori Imperiali. Well, cross over Vittorio Emanuele and have a look at the facade of the Chiesa Nova, with more magnificent Baroque decor, the golden organ, a painting of Filippo Neri, the sainted priest who founded the Order of the Oratorians. And next to it on the left side is the convex facade of Borromini's Oratorio. And wrap around the building and you'll see a beautiful clock tower, the Oratorio. It was designed by Borromini. You'll notice that typical convex and concave curves to the little facade of the clock tower. Carrying on with our walk, which leads us to the Castel Sant'Angelo, with a nice view across the Tiber River looking to St. Peter's and the Bridge of the Angels, Ponte Sant'Angelo. Okay. Now we're walking down another relatively quiet street. It's the Via dei Coronari. Cute little side alleys and staircases, and more of the furniture dealers, the antique dealers, and the restoration experts at work here. Via dei Coronari today has got several dozen art galleries and antique shops. In the old days, 400 years ago, it was the street that led to St. Peter's for the pilgrims. Well, these neighborhoods all around are just saturated with charm and character. You'll walk on cobbled pedestrian lanes that are lined with old brick buildings, 5 stories high, containing little stores and workshops on the ground level, with apartments upstairs in a pattern that's been followed for about 2,000 years. Walking in this simple, quiet neighborhood will be one of the most interesting experiences of your entire European trip. And along the way, there's another marvelous little church and piazza to explore, Santa Maria della Pace. The facade of this church was designed by Pietro da Cortona, another one of the great artists of the Baroque period. Notice that curved facade, that's where it originated, and it's been used in many similar buildings around the world since then. It's very rewarding in your travels to have some time like this where you can simply walk through these quiet, peaceful residential streets. They're very historic, but they don't have the real headline monuments. It's something that takes you off the beaten track and into the neighborhoods where the actual Romans lived. You can come back here in the evening and it is safe, it's pleasant, there's some shops open, there's restaurants here and there. Just this entire neighborhood in the bend of the Tiber River. You can't get lost because it's only about a mile across one direction and about a half a mile across in the other direction, surrounded by the Tiber itself. So just come on in and wander and explore, night or day. And there's these cute little side lanes leading off from it. Wouldn't you like to sit down and have a meal there, or stop on the corner and pass some time of day with your neighbor? This is Roman street life at its best, at its most relaxed. We're going to be bringing you into an evening stroll and showing you some of the night sights again here in Rome. One of the great pleasures is just walking in these little alleys and discovering the little piazzas. People love to live outdoors in Rome. The restaurants are always bustling. You can try and follow a map if you like when you're wandering around here in the center of the city, but you don't really need to. You can just toss that map aside and just wander. This neighborhood just behind the Piazza Navona keeps going and going. You can wander for another couple hours in that direction, and you'll run into more action, more activities, things to buy. A few shops are open and some sidewalk stalls will be open, and of course the restaurants and cafes are open right through the early hours, usually 1 a.m., 2 a.m.